Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to The Last Lap. And in today's video we're going to be breaking down the quite eventful Texas Motor Speedway race we saw for the opening race of the round of 12 for the playoffs. But before we hop into it, just want to remind you guys, hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it if you did that. And you can also check out our social media pages, which are linked down in the description. But let's go ahead and hop straight into the video. As always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show, and you should be happy. Your future teammate won your future teammate slash your future car won the race, so you should be pretty happy that your driver's heading to that car next year. But Matthew has a feel post Texas. We had 24 hours to kind of think about it before recording this video. So what are your quick thoughts before we go ahead and hop into everything that happened in this crazy race?
Man, I just know for Kyle, he's enjoying his time in Cancun right now, and he's enjoying watching his future ride, his future team, basically winning the third race of the season. So, he's feeling good. I think he's feeling real good right now, especially for next year. Tyler Reddick can win 3 races in that car. We all know Kyle Busch can win in that car for sure. But as for you, Jimmy, how you doing today, Jimmy? Are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm okay, I guess. I'm uncomfortable to say the least. This is probably the most unpredictable round, and we are barely above the cut line. Just glad we had a little bit of a cushion before this round, but pretty much Chase used his mulligan again. Not his fault, but we'll get into that later on. Turns 3 and 4, they were a handful all day long for drivers either losing control of their car or losing tires. Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch both spun out really early, just lost control of their cars off the corner. Unfortunately, Matthew's driver Kyle Busch, his day ended a little bit early. He just lost control of his car, backed into the wall, pretty much damaged it for the day. Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman both lost control in turns 3 and 4 early, and they also had a tire issue, both of them later on. And then, unfortunately, there was a very hard crash. Cody Ware was involved. It looked like he lost control of his car, overcorrected, went head-on into the outside wall in turn 4. Probably lost control of the car or something. The car came down pit road, hit right in front of, I believe it was Alex Bowman's pit stall or something, hit the actual pit wall, which is very scary. Cody Ware was shaken up and clearly was in some type of pain or discomfort. They had taken him to the infield care center on a stretcher in the ambulance. Thankfully, he was okay. The team released that there were no major injuries or concussions or anything like that. It's very thankful to see, but that's probably the hardest hit I've seen in the next-gen car this year. Very thankful he is okay. And then after that, Chase Elliott, unfortunately, he lost a tire in turn 4, slammed the wall pretty hard. Was trying to get down to the apron because his car was on fire. Thankfully, nobody else hit him or anything, but he was able to get out of the car, but that would end his day. The whole right front of that car was absolutely destroyed. And shortly after that, the rain came again. In Texas, NBC and USA, they just cannot buy a break broadcasting these races without some type of weather interference. But there was a quick little shower, and then there were like 2 lightning holds back-to-back, so it was probably like an hour and a half rain delay or something like that. Then the track started to pick up pace, and cars were flying around this racetrack, which means the tire pressure was even worse, and the likelihood of a tire going down was even greater. So we saw twice, Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr., both as the leader, just lose a tire going into turn 3, backing into the wall, ending their day. And then there was an incident on the racetrack under green and then also under caution. So William Byron and Denny Hamlin, Hamlin kind of forced Byron up the track off turn 2. Byron hit the wall. He was not happy about it. And then under caution, William Byron decides to drive up to Denny Hamlin and ram into the back of him and accidentally spun him out under caution. We'll talk about everything that happened with that in just a few minutes. But Tyler Reddick, he was able to hold on. He was fighting a vibration very late in the race. Thought a tire might be going down, but he was able to hang on and get the win. So I'm going to go over the top finishers real quick, and then I have 3 points that I want to talk about. So as we look at the top finishers here, we got Tyler Reddick at the top. How about Justin Haley in third place? Just kind of hanging on, surviving. That's pretty much what this race was. Justin Haley, shout out to him for getting a top 5 finish. Chase Briscoe as well. He was running like mid to late 20s pretty much the whole race. They made some major adjustments to that race car and somehow got a top 5 out of it, so huge props to him for that. We got Eric Jones in the top 10 as well. Brad Keselowski, he was fast pretty much all day once again. Very impressive speed out of those RFK cars. And then for the other playoff drivers, we have Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain on here, 12th and 13th. Austin Cindric, and then at the bottom we have Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, and Christopher Bell, the 3 main drivers who were affected by tire issues, for the playoff drivers at least. Alright, my 3 thoughts about this race. First of all, is Texas Motor Speedway. What can be done to this racetrack? They reconfigured it several years ago. Since then, it has been an absolute disaster. Although today, I don't think the racing was terrible. Under green flag conditions, the racing actually wasn't half bad. But we didn't get a lot of green flag racing thanks to tire issues and all of that stuff. So there's 4 options. 1, keep the track as it is, which probably isn't happening because there's been rumors that they're going to literally blow up the entire racetrack. The second idea, in my opinion, is destroy most of it and convert it to a short track, kind of like what Fontana is doing. They could reconfigure it to a standard 1.5 mile racetrack, kind of like Charlotte. Or this is kind of what drivers are nervous that is going to happen most likely, but they could reconfigure the racetrack and make it kind of like what they did to Atlanta, where it's pretty much a super speedway. And drivers are pretty nervous that that's where this is heading. In my opinion, the best option out of these 4 is to either reconfigure it to just a standard 1.5 mile racetrack and adjust the banking in the corners and all of that, or to destroy most of it and convert it to a short track. Will either of those happen? I'm not sure, and probably not. But that's what my quick opinion about Texas Motor Speedway. Next off is the next gen car. There are several improvements that need to be made. I understand that it's a process. This is a brand new race car. You and I already both agree on this, that there should be practice. There should be probably at least 2 1-hour practice sessions with a brand new race car that does not have much on-track experience. Most of this is done through simulation. So I think that could help a little bit, even with what we saw with the tires that were going down and all of that stuff. But safety, that's the number 1 priority. The bodies of these cars need a lot more forgiveness. Cody Ware's car, the nose of that car, is the most bent in I have seen out of a next-gen car, which, I mean, I guess it's kind of good that we saw it bend, but like after everything we've seen this year with the fact that the cars don't really flex when they hit the wall, that I knew that was a really bad hit. But that is the first thing that needs to be addressed. Tires is another thing. Goodyear needs to build a better tire, and teams need practice time to figure out the tire pressures so they can adjust accordingly, so we don't have half a dozen tire failures in the middle of the race. And durability with these next-gen cars. The exterior is good. Like, you can brush the wall just a little bit, or you can bump bumpers with somebody and still be okay. But the interior parts are fragile. If I had a nickel for every time I heard the word broken toe link, I would have a lot of nickels, just to say the least. And then everything else, the power steering issue, all kinds of other stuff going on with these quote-unquote crappy parts Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. and all them are referring to. They need to work on the durability of those single production parts, single manufacturer parts. And finally, the whole William Byron versus Denny Hamlin incident. My first thought is, how did NASCAR not see this happen live? You have tons of people up in the booth. You have several spotters around the racetrack looking and examining what's going on. And they have the same footage that us at the fans at home have. They can watch the TV broadcast. Each car has an in-car camera now. I don't know how they didn't see this at all. But my thoughts on what should be done about this, I think NASCAR pretty much blew their opportunity to do something. I believe what they should have done, they should have had William Byron come down pit road, maybe hold him and put him to the back of the line, or hold him on pit road for a lap or 2, because wrecking a guy under caution is just completely unacceptable. So yeah, I think NASCAR pretty much blew their chance to handle it in the middle of the race, as they should have done. But there are rumors that they might come out with some type of penalty, and if I hear something, I'll put it in the video, obviously. But I think what they could do is just a fine. I don't think any points should be involved for an incident like this. But like I said, I think NASCAR missed their opportunity to handle it, as they should have, just by holding him for a lap or something like that. There was also an incident that is going to be reviewed by NASCAR about Ty Gibbs slamming into Ty Dillon on pit road. I don't have too much to say about that. I know obviously Ty Gibbs was upset with Ty Dillon, but I don't think pit road is the place to show that displeasure, because there's officials, pit crew members, all kinds of stuff happening on right there. So that's just another small incident that might be reviewed by NASCAR, and there could be some type of penalty revolving around it. But those are my 3 main points about this race. So yeah, Matthew, go ahead and tell everybody what you thought about this race, and maybe talk about a few of my points that I mentioned as well.
Man, I'm glad I waited 24 hours to do this video, because I couldn't do it last night, because I had to process what the heck did I just watch. And to be honest, I still don't know what I watched. And I'm so glad I did an iRacing race at Talladega before this video, because I am upset that I lost safety rating because there was a wreck after the checkered flag, even though I made it through. But that's besides the point. I'm fired up right now. What we just saw was one of the absolute disgrace, a disaster dumpster fire of a playoff race that we have seen pretty much since 2015 at Talladega, with that whole mess at the end. This was an upright disaster dumpster fire. It doesn't help the fact that it was in Texas Motor Speedway at first. But, the beginning actually looked kind of promising, the racing. It still wasn't good, but at least it looked like they could pass. Probably because of the sun, and it was very high. It was like 96 degrees that race, so I had a feeling that did help a little bit. So it looked promising until we get to the tires. And that's where I'm going to first start my rants off with. Goodyear. I'm getting sick and tired of their excuses now. At Kansas, a couple weeks ago, it was like, oh, it's just the teams with the air pressure. They're going too crazy with it. Then it was Bristol last weekend. Oh, they're going crazy with the air pressure. Not our fault. And then Texas this weekend. Oh, it's just the air pressure. It's not our fault that they keep blowing. Oh, my God. When it gets to the third straight race, we're seeing so many tires getting blown, and we're seeing pretty much every single guy that's in the lead blowing a tire and being out the race. Then you start to look more like an idiot more than a professional, because that's what Goodyear looks like right now. Complete fools. And literally trying to come up with so many excuses as to why they're building the absolute worst tire compounds in the last few weeks. Basically the start of the playoffs, basically. I always gotta say this Tony Stewart quote every time we have one of these races here. They exit out of Formula One, they exit out of IndyCar, they exit out of the World Outlaws, and there's a reason why for that. It's because Goodyear just can't build a tire that's worth a crap, pretty much. So, yeah, Denny Hamlin tweeted this out earlier today, which I'm glad we saved this video, because we saw a bunch of tweets from drivers today that are just, they're preaching the gospel right here. I'm just saying. And Denny Hamlin's like, there's no way, Goodyear, NASCAR will ever ditch Goodyear, because, they're bringing that good old money, they're giving them that fat check, basically. That's basically the truth right there. Goodyear can make the worst compound you can make, and NASCAR won't do a thing about it. They'll just give them that good old check and be on the way home. Because, that's the one that's supplying the tires. I said we should start doing tire tryouts for the all season. Try Firestone, try Hooster, Michelin, whatever. It's getting ridiculous. I won't be surprised at Talladega this coming weekend. If we see more tires blowing at this rate. So we probably won't have a big one, because all the cars will be blowing tires basically by the end. So expect that. All right, let's get to the second one. Yeah, race control. I just who is working at race control? I mean, do we have people that are literally watching what's going on? They are literally either falling asleep or looking at what any birds are flying across the sky, across the track, basically, because they're clearly not looking what in the world is going on. Let's see. This was pretty much them watching Martin Truex while Byron basically dumps Hamlin. This was pretty much them the whole time. Man, I just see a car right here. Oh wait, this sword just got spun. I didn't know that. Wow, that's not our fault. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how you. And plus, all these cars now got these onboard cameras now. Even BJ McLeod has an onboard camera. So, or yeah, even Cody Ware has an onboard camera, which was helpful, seeing how hard that hit was. It's ridiculous. They gotta get some new people up there. I mean, safety, race control has just been so bad the past couple of years. I've always been critical of how F1's race control is super strict. NASCAR's race control, they literally don't do anything. I mean, they don't do anything. It's ridiculous. I mean, and also they also miss apparently the two ties getting together on pit road. Which, come on, Ty Gibbs. I mean, I'm trying to help you out, brother, but you're not helping my case. I mean, Ty Gibbs and Noah Gragson are basically the same driver. Basically, they look like they're maturing, then they'll have that one moment that drops them back down. So they're literally the same drivers. That's just me. But yeah, fire all those idiots up there on the tower. Get some new people, and wear some freaking glasses next time. I mean, there'll probably be a big wreck this coming weekend in Talladega, and they'll just keep it green because they're probably watching whatever drunk fan is in the stands or something. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Okay. Now, number 3. I want to talk about William Byron Denny Hamlin's incident specifically. Look, I've been a big William Byron fan ever since he came up to the ranks. I mean, mostly I do like him because, 1, he threw it for KBM, and 2, of course, he drives and attends to the college I just recently graduated, Liberty University. So I've always been a big fan of William Byron. But, look, that was absolutely uncalled for. And what baffles me is that there was no penalty. He should have been sent to the back of the field for that. I don't think he should have been parked. Nah, that would be too excessive. He should have been all the way in the back of the field. I mean, that's just... And Denny Hamlin couldn't even keep his spot, which was even worse. And I was expecting a fight after the race too, but there wasn't, which was surprising, to be honest. Knowing Denny Hamlin, he's always heated in the moment. So I was expecting basically a flashback of 2014 there for a second, but I mean, look, come on, William Byron's not really known for being heated or being over aggressive or basically dumping people under caution, but I mean that's just uncalled for. That should have been tail end the lead lap pack or tail end the field, and Hamlin gets his spot back. That's how it should have been. But NASCAR was busy just looking at the sky the whole time, wondering when this race is going to end. That's what they were doing, But if roles were reversed, if Hamlin spun Byron, maybe they probably would see it. But we won't get into that debate. That'll be too controversial. We won't get into that one. But yeah, that was not appreciated. That wasn't the smartest move for Byron. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen someone take someone out under caution at Texas Motor Speedway, so it must be a common spot. And as for Cody Ware, I'm glad he was all right. That was a very hard hit. I don't know if that was because a tire blew or he simply got loose. It was hard to tell. They really had only one good camera angle, basically. So, Of course, the next gen car, of course, is very stiff. The chassis is basically hard as a rock. The body of the car is hard as a rock. I don't. They need when they on the all season. They should just take a page of the Xfinity cars, make the chassis exactly like the Xfinity cars, make the chassis, make the composite body of the car like the Xfinity bodies. Well, maybe not like the exact shape or everything, but the materials. I'm saying because the materials that they're using is hard as a rock, so that's a problem. But I would say this: next gen or Gen 6, that was still a very hard hit. I mean, maybe he wouldn't, have any injury in the Gen 6 car, but that was still a very hard hit, in my opinion. So I do have to think about that. But I am glad that he's okay. We'll see if he returns to Talladega this coming weekend. Oh, okay. Now we can talk about Tyler Reddick winning. Great for him. I'm still mad he's not in the playoffs because I had him in my championship 4, and he should be in the third round right now. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And we have 4 straight winners that are not in the playoffs, which I don't know if that's cool because of parity or embarrassing that 12 playoff drivers can't win a race. So, or any of the 12 playoff drivers can win a race. So I don't know. But yeah, that is my take on the absolutely disaster of a playoff race that I'm hopefully can forget it sometime soon. Because that was horrible. That's Texas Motor Speedway. Nothing good happens there.
So I'm going to quickly go over the playoff grid, and then we'll rate this rate and get on out of here. So as we took a look here, Joey Logano is plus 30. He looks pretty good going into Talladega. Ross Chastain, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, they all look pretty good as well. Now we get down to 6th place, Denny Hamlin, through 8th place, Chase Elliott, plus 8, plus 4, and plus 4 for those guys. Then below the cut line we go. Chase Briscoe, after getting a top 5 finish, is still 4 points below the cut line. Austin Cindric below the cut line as well. Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman, minus 29, minus 30. They're looking at pretty much must-win situations unless they win a few stages here and there, get a lot of points. But that's going to be a very tough hole to climb out of. And now we're going to rate this race, and I'm going to tie my final point into my rating for this race. So all of these playoff races so far, the term has gone around YouTube and social media a lot. It's pretty much like a roulette wheel or a dartboard. Like you just cover your eyes and throw a dart at the board, and this driver's gonna have a tire go down. That driver's gonna have a tire go down. That driver's gonna have an engine blow up. This driver's gonna have an engine blow up. It's just so much chaos going on that we need consistency in a good way. Not, if drivers lose control of their car and spin out and wreck, I'm fine with that. But I don't want uncontrollable situations getting in the way of the playoffs. Like we saw it with Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. We saw it with Tyler Reddick. We're seeing it with drivers like Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott right now. I just don't want stuff like tires and engines and all that to get in the way of the race itself. So for all of that, I'm going to give this race a 4.5 out of 10. I did enjoy the racing product. It was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. But you were able to pass on the bottom, use the resin / PG1, whatever it is, on the top just a little bit too. But yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 10. And I'm interested to see what Texas Motor Speedway does with their reconfiguration plans. But yeah, that's going to be my rating. So, Matthew, what are you going to rate this race?
I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. This track ain't getting no sympathy from me. No. The only enjoyable part of this race was basically the first laps when no one was blowing tires, basically. That's the only part I enjoyed. The rest was a disaster. 2 out of 10.
Ouch. And I thought I was being pretty rough on my rating there. We're also going to go into our fantasy points as well. I did not update them, unfortunately, but I think we were very close in points. I think I only beat you by a few, or you only beat me by a few. But those will be on the screen. I did have a little bit of a lead. It should be right around that like 10 to 15 point range as we head into Talladega next week, which is going to be very chaotic, and then the Roval after that also very chaotic. So it's going to be a very eventful final few races of this round of 12. But Matthew, do you have any other closing thoughts before we go ahead and finish this video up?
Let's see, two, maybe one. If anyone wants the Xfinity race on Saturday, I say we need Brad Doherty in the booth for the rest of the season. I love Brad Doherty in the booth, and he brings a lot of energy, in my opinion. It was fun having him in the booth for the Xfinity race. I'd rather have him in the Fox booth. That one would definitely improve that network. So I doubt it, but it was fun having him having him for the Xfinity race. And okay. As for Talladega next weekend, it's gonna be chaotic. Here's a suggestion. I think we should start bubble wrapping these drivers for this one race. We should just plastic bubble wrap the whole driver, so that I feel like they'll be more safe that way for this weekend only. Just bubble wrap the driver, especially around their head and neck area, and yeah, and their legs too. Just bubble wrap the whole driver for this one weekend. I would feel more comfortable that way.
All right, so I did quickly pull up our fantasy points. I got 230, you got 229, so I only beat you by 1 point this week, and my lead over you is 14 points as we head into Talladega. So still very close between the two of us. But yeah, I think you and me are both just a tiny bit nervous about Talladega, because especially based on how Daytona was and how several drivers are complaining of body aches and all of that. So hopefully we can get through Talladega with no major crashes or injuries or anything like that. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Let us know what you guys think down in the description. Make sure you guys check out our social media pages for updates. But until next time, we will see you guys in the next video.